first series of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends aired in the UK on the 18th of September 2017 and on the 15th of December 2017 in the US. It was narrated by Michael Morricone for the final time in the show's history.
So how is Series 21 compared to Series 20? In all honesty, it's good, but it just feels unfinished to me.
I say that because normally in each series of the show we get 26 episodes. But in this series we only got 18. 18 episodes. Those ones being Springtime for Diesel, A Most Singular Engine, Dowager Hat's Busy Day, Stuck in Gear, Runaway Engine, PA Problems, Hasty Hannah, Cranky at the End of the Line, Ukraine on the Dock, Unscheduled Stops, Philip's Number, The Fastest Red Engine on Sodor, A Shed for Edward, The Big Freeze, Emily in the Middle, Terence Breaks the Ice, Daisy's Perfect Christmas, and Confused Coaches. And that's it. We ended at 18 bloody episodes.
Looking back at Series 21, it just makes me want to see the rest of the stories they had planned put into production and then made exclusively for DVD, much like what they did with some other episodes for the show.
But despite this series feeling unfinished, there are some highlights in the series, like the newcomers Hannah and Carla. Hannah is a vintage passenger coach who is also Henrietta's sister. She was brought to the island to work with Toby while Henrietta was being refurbished at the steamworks. However, much to Toby's displeasure, Hannah turned out to be boisterous, headstrong and reckless, and ordered him to go faster than he usually does. She is rowdy, excitable, and near maniacal, loving to fly down the line at high speeds. However, after tagging along with James and nearly being torn apart, Hannah learned her lesson about going too fast. But her impatience failed to subside. Because of how she likes to get things done fast, her sister often calls her Hasty Hannah. Get it? Hannah is quite a fun character, and Lucy Montgomery does do a great job of bringing this character to life, and it would be nice to see her more often in the series. Carly is a shiny new gantry crane who works at Brendan Docks with Cranky and Big Mickey. She was also voiced by Lucy Montgomery, first appearing in Cranky at the End of the Line. When she first arrived at Brendan Docks, Cranky feared that he was going to be replaced by her. However, he later warmed up to her. She is a bubbly crane who is happy to help out. She is friendly and is able to make friends with almost anyone. While she can be a bit over-enthusiastic about her work, she only wants to be really useful. This is another fun character that Lucy does a great job of bringing to life, and it would be nice to see her more often in the show. Another great highlight is having Big Mickey finally get a speaking role in the show. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, Big Mickey started off as a character in the Tugs TV series, which was a spin-off to Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. He appeared as a hard-working crane who was good friends of the Star Tugs, and ended up sinking in the episode Munitions when his dock blew up. But since the show ended, he's been making several cameos in Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends since Series 3 onwards, appearing as a background crane in the background of Brendan Docks and whatever docks they were, showing the working life of the docks. But he's never had a speaking role until the episode A New Crane on the Dock.
Seeing this original Tugs character talk for the first time in Thomas the Tank Engine was just mind-blowing. Especially with the fact that they actually used the name from the Tugs TV series, which was Big Mickey. I was just so amazed when that happened.
And it would be really nice to see him get more appearances in future episodes, because I'd really love to see this character get some development. Another highlight was bringing back Bulgy in the end of Unscheduled Stops, because he was a character that appeared in Series 3 and got another appearance in Series 7, but since then has just had a few cameos here and there. And they've even gone through the history of the character, where he started off as a bus, got stuck under a bridge, became a hen house, then became a bus again, then was a fruit stand for a while, and then became a bus again. And that would explain why he appeared as a bus a couple of times in some of his cameos after Series 7. I got an actor named Carly McFarlane to voice him, and he does a pretty good job at voicing the character, and I really hope they have plans for him in the future, because it really would be a shame to see him show up in this episode and then never again. It would just be really nice to see if the show has any big plans for him. One of the biggest highlights of the show was bringing back Terence the Tractor in the episode Terence Breaks the Ice.
When I heard for the first time that Terence the Tractor was coming back for this series, my mind was blown away. I mean, this was a huge deal since Terence the Tractor was part of the first series of the show.
And they even make a reference and flashback to his first appearance when he first met Thomas. Like Bulgy, I'm hoping that the show has huge plans for Terence, because he was a huge part of the show since the first series. and it would be a real damn shame to see him disappear again after all this time. But for me, the biggest highlight of this series was bringing back Rosie in her new red paint in the fastest red engine on Sodor, one of my favourite episodes of this series.
As I mentioned before, Rosie's one of my favourite new characters in the show, and I've been complaining for so many years about how she's only gotten cameos and never had a speaking role for a while. But here, this is the first time she's had a speaking role since Series 16.
Having a new coat of red paint, making James jealous, and having them race to see who's the fastest red engine on Sodor, only to get James get his comeuppance at the end when his brakes fail. Again. And with Rosie's return came a new actor, Nicole Stapleton, who replaces Teresa Gallagher, and while I miss Teresa Gallagher, I do have to admit, Nicole does a great performance as Rosie, just very young and energetic kind of voice.
Hello, James.
You really are red.
Yes, I've been repainted. What do you think?
And while I do miss Teresa voicing her, it's kind of obvious that it was Teresa Gallagher. I mean, after you hear her voice a number of times, it is obvious that they're voiced by Teresa Gallagher, since she voices Emmeline, Mavis, Annie and Clarabelle, and various other characters in the show. So having Nicole Stapleton voice Rosie in this series sort of gives her her own identity and her own voice. So she does a great job as Rosie, and I look forward to hearing her again in the future of the show. While it was really nice to have Rosie have a big role again, I do wish that they could have had one scene where she interacts with Thomas. I suppose we'll have to wait until Series 22.
And I've heard on the Thomas Wiki page that we may have gotten an episode in Series 21 that explains why Rosie was painted red in the first place. But because of the company's demands to work on Big World Big Adventures and Series 22, that never happened. Damn shame.
All the same, this is a great comeback for Rosie, and I really hope that the show has future plans for her. And it's already been said that they have plans for her in Series 22. But I hope it goes further, because she's a really great character and one of my favourite new characters from the show. For favourite episodes, mine would have to be Springtime for Diesel, because it's really nice to see Diesel having a soft spot for someone that ain't ducks and ducklings. Stuck in Gear, because I think it's the first time Harvey the Crane engine's ever had an accident. Runaway Engine, because it's a Millie episode, and I really love Millie as a character. New Crane on the docks, because of introducing Big Mickey and giving him a big speaking role for the first time in the show. Fastest red engine on Sodor, for reasons I just listed. Emily in the middle, because I think it's really nice to have Emily getting this episode to herself with the Scottish twins Donald and Douglas. And I don't think we've ever gotten that in the show before. But I think it's really fun, considering that all three are Scottish. Terence breaks the ice because of Trevor's return. And Daisy's Perfect Christmas, because I think it's nice to have a Christmas episode with Daisy as the main character. I especially love how she does a comic book guy routine in it.
Worst day ever.
So in conclusion, Series 21 feels unfinished to me, but still has very entertaining episodes, and it's just amazing to watch.
Series 21 feels unfinished, but it's still a decent series and worth a watch. And if anyone out there in the TV business is listening to this, then I suggest you put the episodes that were remaining for this series into production and make them as a DVD release. But whether it does happen or not, Series 21 is still a great series, and it's a great send-off for Mark Morgan as the narrator. And if you haven't seen any episodes yet, I'd highly recommend checking them out as a tribute to Mark Morgan, one of the great narrators of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends.